The sight of them together illuminated the profound emotions he harbored for her. I lingered in silence, hidden within the dim recesses of the hallway. The gentle illumination from the room caressed my features, allowing me to absorb the surroundings while remaining inconspicuous. My mother exuded an air of elegance and confidence, fully committed to her duties, her hair artfully arranged in soft waves that flowed gracefully over her shoulders, perfectly complementing her every gesture. A young man felt an undeniable pull towards the woman next to him, his gaze fixed intently on her, captivated by her very essence. It is not my aim to imply that my mother lacks virtues or is unappealing. Indeed, she does, and to a considerable extent. Her beauty is undeniable, exuding an effortless grace that enchants everyone who lays eyes upon it. Her courage and unwavering spirit consistently render her a mesmerizing presence to everyone around. What truly caught my attention was how she had enchanted such a youthful and charming man, brimming with vitality and enthusiasm. In that instant, I began to understand the rationale that compelled them to position themselves before her. My being there was purely by chance. It was never my intention to observe them. I made my way to the kitchen in search of a refreshing glass of water. Yet, in an unexpected moment, her laughter seized my focus. I watched my mother and her partner, taking note of the tender way their hands grazed one another, and the exchanged glances that hinted at a profound connection. In that fleeting moment, it seemed as if the whole universe surrounding her had completely dissolved. The talent of my mother enchanted her partner. Despite the age difference between them, it was evident that he was profoundly moved by the encounter and the assurance she radiated. Every gesture and word she selected was meticulously designed to capture her focus, guaranteeing that her thoughts were entirely centered on her, before they could detect my presence or entertain any uncertainties about being watched. I chose to withdraw. A blend of warmth and curiosity enveloped me, as if I had crossed the threshold into an unknown realm. As I glided silently along the corridor, I contemplated the origins of my mother's wisdom. The visions I had encountered remained etched in my thoughts, unsettling my peace. A new facet of her personality emerged, one that challenged my earlier perceptions. I had not considered all those facets. In time, I came to understand that it might be crucial for my husband's well-being. In the end, I found myself at my mother's house, as my husband had embarked on a relationship with another, leading me to the choice of separating from him. As those thoughts swirled within me, I began to ponder the choices I had made. Instead of seeking out my husband to determine if that would yield results, I began to contemplate my mother's partner. He was relatively new in our lives, yet carried himself with a kind of charm that demanded attention. His eloquent expression, serene presence, and inviting smile captivated me entirely. For a fleeting instant, I pondered if the trust we shared had become excessive. Yet I swiftly cast aside that notion, shaking my head to dispel any unwelcome thoughts. What thoughts occupy my mind at this moment? Despite its unconventional nature, a faint smile crept onto my lips at the mere thought of it. My curiosity led me down a perilous path, one from which I may not have emerged unscathed. As I stepped into the room, I gently closed the door behind me. The gentle click of the lock echoed quietly in the tranquil embrace of the night. I fell onto the bed, my mind a tempest of images and tangled thoughts, accompanied by a warmth that blossomed within me. Sleep eluded me as the vivid memories of what I had witnessed replayed in my mind, refusing to let me rest. What kind of daughter watched her mother? What, I wondered, were my thoughts about the man accompanying her? I pondered over my musings. Yet, at the same time, a voice inside me tried to rationalize my thoughts. But discomfort lingered. If you yearn for it, do not confine yourself with restrictions. Treasure the moments you can hold close today. The atmosphere in the room was thick, laden with the weight of my thoughts, which seemed to saturate the air around me. Outside, the branches of the trees danced softly in the breeze, producing a gentle whisper that harmonized with the quickening beat of my heart. I endeavored to silence those thoughts, to plunge into the profoundness of the dream, yet the sensation of having breached a boundary kept me alert. As the first rays of sunlight filtered through the cracks in the curtains, I understood that it was time to embark on another day. My thoughts were murky, still shrouded in the dim remnants of a dream that was fading into the ether. Nevertheless, an unwavering resolve compelled me to lift myself from the confines of my bed. As I donned the soft robe that lay waiting by my bedside, I padded barefoot toward the kitchen, the very soul of the cherished traditions that filled my mother's home. The rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee enveloped the room, a fragrance I had previously associated with leisurely days, yet, on this occasion, it bore a distinct significance. Upon entering, I observed my mother at the table, savoring breakfast alongside her new companion, a man whose presence still felt foreign to me. His gaze possessed an enigmatic allure, a captivating mix of warmth and curiosity that eluded my understanding. Upon catching sight of me, my mother immediately stood up. In a soft, soothing manner, she asked about my breakfast choices, using that familiar voice I had once adopted to conceal my unvoiced concerns. I reassured my mother that there was no need for concern, as I would take care of the meal preparation myself. With a composed spirit, I ventured toward the pantry, seeking a cup. As I rose, I caught the young man's gaze. The gentleman with his meticulously styled hair and a welcoming smile. His greeting, though warm, was accompanied by a gaze that held me captive, as if every nuance of my being sparked his curiosity. A shiver ran down my spine, but I managed to mask it with a soft smile. Perhaps I perceived it as simply his method of conveying appreciation for my efforts. Or perhaps it hinted at something deeper. I was surprised by the ease with which he asked if I had managed to get enough rest. Despite the playful lilt in his voice, the look on his face cast a shadow of doubt in my mind. The seemingly harmless inquiry echoed in my thoughts. Could he have sensed my existence? A delicate tremor in my hands prompted me to clutch the cup with greater assurance. With a calm demeanor, I activated the coffee maker, making certain that my attempts to unwind stayed subtle. The soft murmur of water and the deep scent of coffee enveloped the cozy space. Breaking the stillness that hung in the air following my words, I nestled into my chair opposite them, focusing my gaze on the steaming cup of coffee before me. Yet, their gaze lingered on me, imbued with a mischievous glimmer that I found utterly irresistible. With each sip of coffee, I felt the weight of his gaze upon me, transforming the moment entirely. My mother, oblivious to the mounting tension in the kitchen, stood up from the table with her usual grace. With unwavering calmness, she declared that it was time to embark on her workday. As her colleague rose from their seat, she made her way to where I was positioned. As she drew near to bid farewell, I sensed my body instinctively tense. With a smile that felt uniquely mine, she leaned in and whispered, less than, have a wonderful day, greater than, before planting a gentle kiss on my cheek. Yet, her movements were far from simple. Her goodbye was filled with warmth and affection, just as one would expect from her. A subtle caress, barely perceptible, yet it stirs a feeling of hesitation and caution deep within me. At that moment, I reacted swiftly, masking my true feelings with a courteous smile while I watched him and my mother leave the house. The door's echo lingered in the quietude of the room, leaving me solitary with the cup of coffee that had grown cold in my grasp. The rhythmic ticking of the clock on the wall punctuated the serene atmosphere that enveloped the kitchen. I dedicated my efforts to maintaining a sense of engagement. I endeavored to grasp the circumstances that transpired. Still, doubt hovered in my thoughts. Was that kiss merely a mistake? Or did it hold deeper meaning? As I rose to tidy my cup, I became aware of the rapid beating of my heart. The man's gestures and words seemed to carry a profound significance that captivated my curiosity. As the day unfolded, the echoes of that morning intertwined with every task I engaged in, weaving a tapestry of unease within my thoughts. The day stretched on interminably, each passing moment draining vitality as time trudged ahead. As I stood in the kitchen, focused intently on the task of preparing dinner, the unmistakable sound of the front door creaking open reached my ears. As I remembered my stepfather's arrival before my mother, a gentle flutter stirred within my heart. Uncertainty clouded my mind, yet the prospect of solitude with him ignited a tumultuous blend of apprehension and thrill deep within me. A feeling of discomfort washed over me as I grappled with the ambiguity of my relationship with my stepfather. In the end, He was the one chosen by my mother to accompany her through life. And it became my responsibility to ensure her happiness and health were at the forefront. He stepped inside with a sense of determination, as though the house were an extension of his very being. He placed his suitcase and jacket on the table by the entrance. And from that moment on, he spoke with a warm and assured tone. The aroma that fills this home is simply enchanting. I glanced over at him as he strode into the kitchen with assurance, where I was finishing up the preparation of the sausage and chorizo tacos. He moved with a soft yet certain elegance, each footfall on the wooden floor echoing a subtle self-assurance that suggested the promise of what was to come. As he stirred in the pan, he lingered at the kitchen door, drawing in a deep breath of the aroma that had demanded such dedication to create. He inquired with a softer, more personal touch about what he was crafting in the kitchen. I articulated my preparations to him with clarity, and he took a deep breath, exhaling with a palpable sense of satisfaction. As he drew near, he observed, less than less. For some reason, it carries a delightful fragrance. More than. Within his gaze, I discerned a trace of something captivating and hidden that stirred a sense of unease within me. It stirred an unforeseen reaction, one I was not ready to face. His gaze lingered for a brief moment, studying me with a contemplative look. In an unexpected moment, he articulated his observation that the individual's husband was blind, his tone gentle yet resonant with significance. Fewer than. Should you persist in tackling matters with the same diligence and thoughtfulness you apply to your culinary endeavors, I am confident that all will unfold beautifully. More than. His gaze held a fierce intensity that sent a shiver across my skin. Not from fear, but from the tantalizing unpredictability of what could unfold next. I endeavored to maintain my composure, yet his subsequent words obliterated any trace of serenity I had succeeded in preserving. I am completely confident in your capabilities in that area, especially given that your mother remains silent on the matter. Your departure appears to mirror hers in a striking way. A swirl of frustration and confusion enveloped me. I replied, striving to express indignation, despite the awareness that my tone was revealing my true feelings. Fewer than. What prompted you to address me in such a manner? More than. A yearning for the hidden and mysterious started to emerge, dwelling within the very core of my being. He drew a little closer. His presence stirred a disquiet within me, leaving me at a loss for how to react. Fewer than. With the same bravery you exhibited during your visit yesterday. Greater than, he remarked, a sly smile playing on his lips, much like a cat that has just ensnared its prey. Fewer than, I observed you, yet I chose to allow you to complete your contemplation undisturbed. More than, what if we reflect on the possibilities that arise from your husband's absence? As expected, you understand, the proposal laid before us was suspended, brimming with assurances that appeared improbable. Yet I silently harbored a desire to delve deeper. A part of me yearned for that, yet I opted to keep it unspoken. Just as I was poised to reply, the door burst open and my mother strode into the house, her presence as commanding as ever. She wrapped her arms around my stepfather, planting a warm kiss on his lips, dissolving the tension that had lingered between us. For a fleeting moment, I experienced the sensation of being an outsider in my own existence, pondering a circumstance that did not belong to me. As I completed the task of preparing dinner, the delightful echoes of her laughter and the warmth of her expressions enveloped the room. As we sat down for dinner, my mother animatedly shared her thoughts, and I did my utmost to maintain my composure, fully aware that he would not stay silent. As the meal commenced, a subtle sensation grazed my foot beneath the table, confirming the accuracy of my instincts. At first, I regarded it as a fortunate twist of fate, yet that sentiment evolved, growing in clarity and assertiveness. It was a struggle for me to come to terms with it. This person undeniably moves with extraordinary speed. I felt uneasy under his lingering gaze and quickly looked away, unsure how to interpret the attention. A strange tension hung beneath the table, a quiet discomfort I tried to ignore. The sudden chime of the doorbell shattered the palpable tension in the air. I rose with purpose, welcoming the disruption, and made my way to the door to swing it open. In that instant, my mother-in-law's face bore a grave expression as she conveyed the news of my husband's traffic accident and subsequent hospitalization. Her words laced with a fervent hope that I would be the one to stand by him during this trying time. I decided to join my mother-in-law, not out of a longing for my husband's company, but rather because I understood that staying behind would probably draw me closer to my stepfather, a notion that stirred a mix of unease and curiosity within me. Yet, I never imagined I would act in such a way towards my mother. I felt conflicted, realizing I might have misunderstood boundaries I should never have approached. In contemplating the matter, I came to understand that my mother's courage surpassed the fleeting happiness. I made the decision to leave, suppressing my yearning, aware that in spite of my desires, I did not encounter that enchanting quality. Your willingness to lend an ear to my tales means a great deal to me. As we reach the end of our time together, I invite you to join my channel and activate notifications for future updates. If you found the content enjoyable, I would be grateful if you could take a moment to click the like button. I wrap your dear friend Laura in a warm embrace. I eagerly anticipate our upcoming meeting.